folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Pub Quiz. Hopefully we didn't make you jump too much there. This week's quiz is the Halloween trick-or-treat trivia special. If you're new here, I'm Alan, your regular quizmaster and host, and today's quiz is over 7 rounds and features 70 trick-or-treat questions. It's 1 point for each correct answer, and a score of over 40 is good, but a score of over 60, that's excellent. Good luck, let's crack on with the quiz. Question 1. How many times has Halloween fallen on Friday the 13th? Trick question, it has never fell on Friday the 13th. Question 2. What colour was Slimer in the film Ghostbusters? He was green. Question 3. What is the first name of Dr. Frankenstein? His first name is Victor. Question 4. In which US city would you find the famous Village Halloween Parade? You would find it in New York. Question 5. In which movie is the famous line, "I see dead people," spoken? That line is from The Sixth Sense. Question 6. How many times do you need to say Beetlejuice's name to summon him? You would say his name 3 times. Question 7. Phasmophobia is a fear of what? It is a fear of ghosts. Question 8. What star or zodiac sign would you be if you were born on Halloween? You would be a Scorpio. Question 9. Which famous magician and escapologist died on Halloween in 1926? That was Harry Houdini. And quiz question 10. What colour are pumpkins before they fully ripen? They are green. So round 1, that was fairly easy, just to break you in gently. They will get harder as we go. Round 2 this week is called Cryptic Qs. 10 mixed format questions coming up. Quiz question 11. At Halloween feasts of old, which tempting fruit was fished from dark water, said to foretell your fate in love or death? Of course it was apples. Question 12. In which English county did the Pendle witch trials of 1612 condemn villagers to the gallows under the shadow of superstition and fear? Was that in Lancashire, Nottinghamshire or Yorkshire? They happened in Lancashire. The infamous Pendle witch trials saw 9 women and 3 men accused of witchcraft. 10 were executed, 1 was acquitted and 1 died in prison before trial. Question 13. The legend of the Jack-o'-lantern began with which damned soul, cursed to wander the earth with only a hollowed light to guide him? correct answer is Stingy Jack. According to Irish folklore, Stingy Jack tricked the devil and was denied heaven and hell. Doomed to roam the earth, he carried a carved turnip lantern, the origin of today's pumpkin jack-o'-lantern stories. Question 14. What grinning stone guardians were carved to protect buildings from both water and evil spirits? They are gargoyles. Question 15. Which Mexican celebration of death coincides with Halloween, inviting departed loved ones to return from the shadows and share in the living's light? That would be the Dia de los Muertos. Translating to Day of the Dead, this vibrant Mexican tradition honours ancestors with altars, marigolds, candles and food offerings, celebrating remembrance rather than mourning. Question 16. Zombies are said to rise from which dark Haitian religion? That would be voodoo. Question 17. Which fatal disease is carried by blood-feeding bats that haunt the night skies of South America? Would that be Ebola, malaria, or rabies? The correct answer is rabies. Question 18. Which cursed soul is doomed to transform beneath the full moon, driven by a hunger for flesh? That is a werewolf. Question 19. According to superstition, what should be scattered across your doorstep on Halloween night to keep evil spirits from entering? Would that be ashes, salt, or sweets and candy? The correct answer is salt. And quiz question 20. Before pumpkins, which eerie root vegetable was carved to keep evil spirits at bay? That was a turnip. Round 3 this week is called Killer Questions, and it's all about serial killers. Quiz question 21. In the Netflix drama, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, who played Ted Bundy? He was played by Zac Efron. Known for playing boy next door roles, Zac Efron surprised critics with his chillingly restrained portrayal of the infamous American serial killer who confessed to 30 murders in 7 US states. Question 22. How many women are generally believed to have been murdered by Jack the Ripper in London's Whitechapel in 1888? Would that be 5, 7 or 9 women? The correct answer is 5. Question 23. What was the real name of the notorious British murderer nicknamed the Yorkshire Ripper? His real name was Peter Sutcliffe. Question 24. Which British actor starred as the serial killer Dennis Nielsen in the 2020 ITV drama Des? He was played by David Tennant. Question 25. Which serial killer inspired Alfred Hitchcock's classic Psycho in 1960? Was that Albert Fish, Ed Gein or H.H. Holmes? It was Ed Gein. The gruesome crimes of Ed Gein, murder, exhuming corpses and fashioning human trophies from human remains, inspired Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. Question 26. What was the nickname of the unidentified killer who sent cryptic letters to San Francisco newspapers in the 1960s? He was nicknamed the Zodiac Killer. Question 27. What was John Wayne Gacy's chilling side profession outside of his crimes? He was a party clown. Known as the Killer Clown, John Wayne Gacy entertained children at parties and charity events as Pogo the Clown, all whilst secretly committing a string of horrific murders that shocked America in the 1970s. Question 28. Which Oscar-winning actress played serial killer Aileen Wuornos in Monster in 2003? Was that Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, or Renée Zellweger? She was played by Charlize Theron. Question 29. In which decade did the Son of Sam shootings terrify New York City? They were in the 1970s. Question 30. What was the profession of real-life killer Harold Shipman, convicted of murdering over 200 people in the UK? He was your local doctor. Round 4 this week is your Picture It round, and we've called it Rogues Gallery. Can you name the movie villain? Quiz question 31. Can you name this horror movie villain? He is called Jigsaw. Despite being the mastermind, Jigsaw, also known as John Kramer from the Saw film series, never actually kills anyone. His victims die by their own choices in his twisted, sadistic games. Question 32. That one is the android Megan. Question 33. That one is Annie Wilkes. Adapted from the Stephen King novel Misery, Kathy Bates won the Oscar for Best Actress in 1991 for the role. The infamous scene was toned down from the novel's axe amputation to a brutal sledgehammer homilin instead. Question 34. That is Chucky from Child's Play. Question 35. He is called Pinhead or the Hell Priest from Hellraiser. Question 36. That is Michael Myers. Question 37. That is Candyman, also known as Daniel Robitaille. The original Candyman in 1992 used real bees bred for the film. They were placed around actor Tony Todd's face, even in his mouth, but he had negotiated a $1,000 bonus per sting, a $23,000 bonus in total. Question 38. That one is Ghostface. Question 39. That one is Jason Voorhees. And lastly in this round, quiz question 40. That is Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Round 5 is your monster mixtape. 10 mix format questions, all about music. With question 41, which spooky actor narrated the music video for Michael Jackson's Thriller? Was that Boris Karloff, Christopher Lee, or Vincent Price? It was Vincent Price. Horror film legend Vincent Price recorded his Thriller narration in just 2 takes, improvising the evil laugh at the end. He was paid a total of $1,000 for the role and later joked he should have negotiated royalties instead. Question 42. Ray Parker Jr. sang the theme song to which 1984 movie? He sang the theme tune to Ghostbusters. Question 43. Which Irish band had a hit with the song Zombie in 1994? Was that the Cauthors, the Cranberries, or U2? It was a hit for the Cranberries. Question 44. Highway to Hell is a song by which rock band? That is an AC/DC song. Question 45. Which group sang the song Psycho Killer released in 1977? Was that Blondie, Talking Heads, or The Clash? The correct answer is Talking Heads. Frontman David Byrne wrote Psycho Killer as a tongue-in-cheek character study, blending punk and art pop with chilling lyrics, inspired by the Son of Sam murders that shocked America at the time. Question 46. Who sang the novelty hit Monster Mash in 1962? That was a hit for Bobby Pickett. Question 47. Which British band had a hit in 1981 with the song Ghost Town? Was that The Cure, The Jam, or The Specials? It was a hit for The Specials. Question 48. Which group wrote the song Pet Sematary for the film adaptation of Stephen King's novel? That was written by the Ramones. Question 49. Which band released the 1986 song Dead Man's Party? Was that Depeche Mode, Oingo Boingo, or the B-52s? It was released by the band Oingo Boingo. Frontman Danny Elfman later became one of Hollywood's top film composers, creating iconic scores for films like Batman and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Was question 50, who had a hit with the song Super Freak in 1981? That was a hit for Rick James. Super Freak became Rick James's signature hit, blending funk and pop with its unforgettable bass line, which was later sampled by MC Hammer for his 1990 track, You Can't Touch This. Now, if you made it this far in the quiz and we haven't scared you to death, do me a favour. Hit that like button. It's the best way you can support my channel and any other small channel that you enjoy. If you're new here and you want to try some regular quizzes, why not subscribe to the channel? Grab your phone, scan this QR code on the screen and hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to stay up to date with all the content the channel publishes. Right, back to the quiz. Round 6 is called Dark Chapters and it's a literary round. 10 mixed format questions coming up. Quiz question 51. Which classic horror novel has the subtitle The Modern Prometheus? That would be Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Question 52. The line double double toil and trouble is chanted by the witches for telling the rise and fall of which literary king? That would be Macbeth. Question 53. The cursed town of Derry, Maine was created by which horror author? It was created by Stephen King. Question 54. The schizophrenic story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was written by which Scottish author? It was written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Question 55. What is the first book in Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles series? Would that be Interview with the Vampire, Queen of the Damned, or The Vampire Lestat? The correct answer is Interview with the Vampire. Published in 1976, it introduced the world to Louis, Lestat and Claudia, redefining the modern vampire myth. The book also inspired the 1994 film adaptation starring Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Question 56. Which legendary Gothic horror novelist was born in Dublin, Ireland on the 8th of November 1847? That was Bram Stoker. Question 57. Which play and later film was based on a Gothic ghost novel of the same name by English author Susan Hill? That was The Woman in Black. Published in 1983, The Woman in Black became a long-running West End stage play, followed by a film in 2012 starring Daniel Radcliffe, both famed for their chilling atmosphere and jump scares. Question 58. In which Gothic novel does a man's portrait age while he himself remains the same age? That would be The Picture of Dorian Gray. Question 59. Which play by Arthur Miller is set during the Salem witch trials? The correct answer here is The Crucible. And quiz question 60. Which American Gothic writer is famous for the line, "All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream"? That is the author Edgar Allan Poe. In 1849, Poe was found delirious and dressed in someone else's clothes. He died days later, whispering the name Reynolds, and the cause of death still remains a mystery to this day. And we are on to round 7. 10 mixed format questions on tricky trivia coming up. Quiz question 61. What is the day after Halloween known as in Western Christianity? It is known as All Saints' Day. Question 62. What does the word witch originally mean in Old English? It would mean wise person. Question 63. What does the word hallow in Halloween mean? It means saint or holy person. Question 64. In which US state is it illegal to dress as a nun or priest on Halloween? Would that be Alabama, Louisiana, or Mississippi? The correct answer here is Alabama. Question 65. A lycanthrope is better known as what creature? That would be a werewolf. Question 66. How often does a full moon appear on Halloween night? Would that be every 4 or 5 years, every 11 or 12 years, or every 18 or 19 years? The correct answer is every 18 or 19 years. Question 67. Modern Halloween with costumes, trick-or-treating and pumpkin carving began to take shape in which century? It started to grow in the 19th century. Halloween as we know it began in the 1800s when Irish and Scottish immigrants brought their folk customs to America, blending Celtic Samhain traditions with American harvest celebrations. Question 68. Who directed the 1980 film The Shining? That was directed by Stanley Kubrick. Question 69. What is the name of the castle often linked to Dracula? That is known as Bran Castle. And quiz question 70. What is the fear of Halloween called? That is called Samhainophobia. Named after the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, the origin of Halloween, the term Samhainophobia describes an irrational fear of Halloween or anything related to it. Thank you for joining the quiz. I'll leave you with one final bonus question on the screen worth 2 bonus points. Hopefully we didn't scare you too much, so please, if you enjoyed the quiz, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're up for another challenge, why not try out one of these regular quizzes here? Bye for now.